Well, let's move on to the third big story that we are getting you today. The University Grants Commission is working on a proposal to integrate engineering and medical entrances into the Common University Entrance Test. Remember, the CUET has recently been introduced. Now, as per a Times of India report, the UGC chief has said that instead of appearing for 4 subjects, maths, physics, chemistry, and biology, in 3 examinations, students can take the exam once because all these subjects are also included in the CUET. Now, the higher education regulator is working out a panel to deliberate with different stakeholders and to reach a consensus on this. And the question really is whether this is workable and how feasible is this really going to be. Furqan Qamar, former advisor, Planning Commission of India, is joining me here on the broadcast. Thank you very much, Mr. Kumar, for joining us. Your first reaction to this kind of a proposal, because obviously the CUET also had its own set of issues, but obviously those were teething issues that we can call them. But combining these exams into one, what is your first reaction?
The first reaction is that it's a very good and sensible move.
Okay.
I think we need to move towards ease of taking admission or ease of being able to take admission in the universities. The people who are passing out from board examinations are a harassed lot. They are taking multiple examinations. And I think in many examinations, the course content and the curricula is common. Only difference could be that the merit and the ranking could differ. So I think the best practice that appears to me is not to have any examination at all, admit students on the basis of the board examination, find a way of normalizing the variations in the board examination. If that is not possible, and that seems that people are not agreeable to this idea of normalized score, and if the student have to take test, I think we should move towards a unified common entrance examination to many disciplines as far as possible. And I think there could be many commonalities that could arise. So I would welcome this idea. The only word of caution that I would put is that take time, work on this idea, take these stakeholders into confidence, take into account their concerns. Do not implement it in a hurry so that you do not have the kind of situation that we faced this year for the CUET, where you had to issue many corrigendum, you had to cancel examinations many times, and the student had to travel from places to places. So a good preparation in that regard would be very good.
Yes.
If you have time, or maybe you have another question, so please.
Yes. My next question was really with respect to, while I agree with you on the logic of why there should be one entrance exam, my question is with different streams, for example, medical versus any other stream that one may be looking at, the kind of level of science required to get into a medical school would be slightly higher than perhaps what it is required to get into another stream, for example. How does that problem get solved?
It doesn't. I mean, it appears that as if the levels would be different, but you can test a student only on the basis of what a student has studied. You cannot test a student on the basis of what he or she is going to be taught. So now presently you are taking the NCERT curricula, you are teaching the CBSE board. I would suggest that you also integrate some other boards, many other boards of the country, and develop a curricula. And then you are designing a question paper, the test items to test these students. Of course, a student would be giving preferences. So supposing a large number of people give their preference for medical rather than life sciences or rather than basic sciences, so the merit and the rank would accordingly differ. And then the student would be taking a single examination. The example that comes to our mind, although it is not a very apt example, is that of the special aptitude test, the SAT, that you take in the United States of America. But the SAT is not discipline-based test. The SAT is more of the kind of aptitude-based test, and it is one of the many components for the selection of the students. So you can find the common grounds of the curricula. You can decide the standards accordingly. The only difference would be that those high demand streams would have a very high cutoffs, very high percentile scores to make it. The other disciplines which are not as much in demand but require the knowledge of those disciplines will have a lower cutoff. So it will work out. It's a possible idea. It's a feasible idea. The only thing is a preparation is needed. I would also like to say that now the technology has moved a great deal. So presently, this practice of conducting one or two examinations in a year, I think we should begin by having many examinations, many entrance examinations, 3 or 4 every quarter in a year, so that whenever a student feels that she is ready, she could appear in examination. And maybe finally we should target to achieve an on-demand examination so that anybody, whenever he or she is ready, could go to the examination center and could take the examination. It's possible and the technology enables that. The only thing that is needed is a very large number of item banks across all disciplines.
Right.
Yes.
Mr. Qamar, the other aspect is, while all this, may work on paper, but actually putting into practice, given the various diverse backgrounds that students in India come from, given the various, the different syllabus that's followed by various students, and the level of education also in various parts is extremely different. So coming together of all of that into simply one exam, is our education system equipped to handle that?
No, I think we are missing a point here. We are already having all medical admission through NEET.
Yes, yes.
And we know that in the NEET, a major advantage is coming to students who have passed through the CBSE board. Because their pass percentages and success rates are very high as compared to people coming from many other different boards. So already that is happening. Now the question here, and therefore I said that the best method is to admit a student on the basis of the board examination after normalization. And I think India has enough mathematicians and enough knowledge to adopt and evolve a formula for the normalization of his course. But somehow people are not agreeable to this idea. So now a person has to take the same test in physics, chemistry, biology in the medical stream to appear or to seek a seat in a medical college. And then many of those students, rather a large student or all of them, also take a similar test to take admission, say in biology or life sciences or biosciences, in undergraduate level in many universities. Why should we do that? So I think if the UGC is thinking this way, that let there be one common test, and it is to be taken by all who aspire to pursue medical stream in a medical college and also science stream belonging to those disciplines in university. At least it will save them time, hassles, expenditure on multiple coachings, etc. But the only caution that I would say is that let them work out each and every possible detail. Let them not be centered on the CBSE curricula. Let them integrate or consider and find a common ground across different boards. We have 42 boards in our country. A good portion of the syllabus is common. There are some individual variations. I think we can evolve a curricula, a common curricula, so that it doesn't benefit to a particular board or to a few particular board. I think we should also remember in mind, and I've said it before in one of your programs, that unless we take care of this situation, that people from all linguistic backgrounds are able to get medical education or education in various streams, there is going to be a problem for the nation. Can you serve in Tamil Nadu or Kerala the community, the population, uh, even though you are a very good doctor, but you do not know the local language? Certainly not. So you need people who know, uh, who are familiar, fully well versed with Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, and all those languages. So I think an inclusive approach to admission would be done. So if board-based admission is not possible, minimize the number of tests that students have to take based on a
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Kumar, for joining us with your perspective. We, of course, have to wait and see how this really pans out and whether one part is getting it on paper and then implementing it is going to be the big challenge going forward, because you already have several states who are against the NEET. You have Tamil Nadu, which is against NEET as well, and other states which are against the CUET itself. So politically also, something like this would be a big challenge. But on that note, we